Good evening, everybody. My name is Kushan Banerjee. I'm one of the business managers here in working in WWICS group of companies. Today, we're going to talk about Canada residency through investment program. What are the various options that you all can explore, and how we can go ahead and help you get those options successfully for yourself and your family. Before we get into the details of the program, first of all, I would like to talk about a little bit about WWICS as a group, who we are, how long we have been there in the business, and what is our area of specialization. Now, to start off with, Worldwide Immigration Consultancy Services is one of the world's largest immigration company, wherein we were established in 1993, and currently we have around 32 offices worldwide. We have a track record of more than 100,000 successful cases, with a team of nearly 800 employees working across the 32 offices. They consist of licensed immigration practitioners, lawyers, ICCRC members, financial advisors, and investment consultants. Now, apart from citizenship and immigration services, which is, of course, our core area of expertise, WWICS has diversified into real estate, hospitality, sports, healthcare, and education sector. I'm so sorry. In terms of the investment program categories that we specialize as a company is citizenship by investment, residency by investment, and business immigration. In terms of citizenship by investment, this program allows investors to get a citizenship or a second passport for themselves and their family directly through investment in the field of real estate, government bonds, capital investment. Now, we as a company, we assist our clients in choosing the best citizenship programs based on the portfolio. In terms of residency by investment, as the name itself suggests, this program allows an investor or his or her family to get a residency of a particular country, again through investment in real estate, government bonds, or business capital investment that contributes towards the economic growth of the country. In terms of business immigration, this program basically allows foreign entrepreneurs or investors to obtain a residency permit either by expanding their current business, what they're doing wherever they are, whether in Dubai, whether in India, whether anywhere in the world, what they are doing, they can expand their current business into a new country where they are seeking a residency permit, or else they can buy an existing business as well, which would qualify them to get the residency of the country. Now, this type of procedure involves job creation, contributing to the economic growth as well. These investments, like I said, can be made in a startup, joint venture, or existing businesses as well. I apologize. There's some technical glitch. Just give me 1 second, please. I'm not able to go into the next slide. Why choose business immigration as an option? Now, business immigration is a good choice to expand your current business, which I mentioned in the earlier slide, or to settle down with a family wherein you can buy an existing business, an existing profitable business, which you buy, which you attain, and then you get the residency or the citizenship that you're looking at. Now, most of these programs under this category demands maximum stay when it comes to running the business, because when you're buying out a business or when you're trying to start a new business in a new country altogether, it requires your active involvement in the day-to-day running of the business. And that is again the reason why the prerequisite of any business immigration program is that you have to stay for the maximum period of the time, which is a minimum of 181 days in a year, typically, that we look at. Now, most of these programs come with an open work permit for spouse, which in other words means that your wife can basically do another business, or she can work, she can do a full-time job, she can do a part-time job, and she can help you in any form as well. Okay. Majority of the programs provide temporary residency, which leads to permanent residency and citizenship at a later stage. This means nothing but that you start out with a temporary residency status for yourself and your family. Eventually, depending on the country, for example, for Canada, about a year later, you are able to apply for your permanent residency. And then eventually if you're there on your PR status for about 3 out of 5 years, you are getting, or you would be eligible to apply for citizenship. In terms of business immigration programs, it comes with a job creation requirement. Most of the countries offer social benefits even during temporary residency status, which in other words means nothing but, for example, when you're going to Canada on a temporary residency status, you can get all the socioeconomic benefits when it comes to free schooling for your children, free medicals for the full family, and then obviously it gets transformed into a PR with your stay during the temporary residency visa status. In terms of the countries that offer citizenship and residency programs, like I mentioned, I had clearly defined on the various programs that we have an expertise on. Now, in terms of the citizenship programs, the country that we specialize in I'll go region-wise. In terms of Europe and Asia, we do it for Cyprus, Malta, Moldova, Montenegro, Turkey. In terms of British Commonwealth countries, we do it for the Commonwealth of Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda, and Vanuatu. These are all British Commonwealth countries, which gives you a direct passport. Within the European and Asian sector, Cyprus, Malta, Moldova, Montenegro, Turkey, they give you a direct passport against the investment in any form, whether it is real estate, whether it is government bond, depending on the country which you're looking at. In terms of the residency programs in North America, we have Canada and USA. In Europe, we have UK, Portugal, Malta, Spain, Greece, Bulgaria, and Cyprus. In terms of business immigration, again, in North America, we do it for Canada as well as for USA. And other than that, we also do it for UK and Australia. In terms of our services, business immigration, we help you to choose the right country and the program based on the eligibility requirements and your budget. What we do in a nutshell is when you're applying for a residency program or when you're applying for a citizenship program, there are basically two things that our clients look into. Number one, people who are looking for direct citizenship, and people who are looking for residency. People who are actually looking for direct citizenship, they are the ones who maybe are having a business which is as old as 15, 20 years old business, and they cannot afford to let go everything what they're doing, and they are properly settled, and they just need a second passport in order to have visa-free travel, where they have their clients or business partners, and that is the reason why they go for a second passport or a direct citizenship option. Wherein a residency option is typically taken by an individual or an investor who is basically looking at a long-term from a long-term point of view, which means wherein they want to get their residency status, they want to get the socioeconomic benefits that any of these countries offer, and they want to churn out all the benefits that they would be getting or their families can enjoy in the future. So we understand the requirement of the client. There is a quick QA session wherein we get an understanding of what the client is looking at, and based on that, we advise the client with the best possible option. In terms of buying an existing business, we facilitate the profitable businesses in the country of your choice, which basically means nothing but when you are, for example, if you want to move to Canada, buying out an existing business, it's not just you buy an existing business for the namesake. Obviously, you need supporting documents. So we ensure your documents are prepared and submitted as per the guidelines of the immigration authorities. In terms of supporting documents, if you're buying an existing business, for example, a restaurant or a coffee shop, or any business related in the service industry, we will go ahead and share typically what is their turnover for the last 5 years, what are the number of employees that they have, based on your experience, based on your hobbies as well, based on your passion. We all do that research, and we give you a report of at least 3 or 4 different business types, something which you are specialized in, okay, or a very generic business that can be managed by anybody and everybody, okay. And then based on the reports, our client decide that which particular option would be best suited for them, and they go about, they need more details regarding that particular business. We help them get that as well. We ensure your case is followed up regularly to avoid any delays on your application. We introduce you to chartered accountants, bankers, financial consultants, real estate brokers, who help you to settle down in a new country faster. We also provide crucial information on living, school education, housing, social benefits of the country for your smooth settlement once you move into the new country. We also assist in post-landing services in Canada. So in a nutshell, we are not just an immigration company, we are more like a consultancy who give you a one-stop solution right from the day we start your application till the time you have landed, and post-landing as well. There are services like applying for PR card, SIN number, driving license, etc., just to smoothen the process of immigration altogether for you. Now, why would you choose us over anybody else? Why would you choose WWICS? Like I said, we listen to your needs. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we understand your needs based on like what are the typical things that you're looking at, whether it's a direct pass, whether it's just visa-free travel, or whether it's a long-term thing that you're looking at, wherein you are aiming, in terms of settlement for your children, free schooling, free medicals, university, subsidized rates, and all these things. Based on that, we give you the best possible option, which is going to suit you and your family, whether it's a short-term goal, whether it's a long-term goal. In terms of our global presence, as I mentioned in the first slide itself, that we have around 32 offices worldwide, and our presence across the globe allows us to serve you at your doorstep. Now, this is very much about what we do and what we have been doing over the past 28 years, literally 27 years, if I'm not wrong. And now, talking about Canada, the programs that we will be talking about, before we get into the details of the program, we need to talk about very quickly, why Canada and what are the benefits? Why choose Canada over any other country? Now, certain facts of Canada: capital being Ottawa, official language being English and French, the total area of Canada being 9.9 million square kilometers, the total population of the country being 35.1 million as of December 2016, government style being constitutional monarchy, the GDP of the country being $1.67 trillion, currency being, of course, Canadian dollar, exchange rate, typically a 1 USD is equivalent to 1.39 Canadian dollar. You will have visa-free travel to approximately around 160 countries worldwide. In terms of passport ranking, if we look at the world stage, it's around 4. Now, these are certain facts of Canada. Why Canada? Why choose Canada again over any other country. I'm sorry, because of strong economic growth, low tax and low business cost, excellence in research and innovation, one of the safest countries with high standard of living, most valued passport for international travel. Like I mentioned, excellent education, free education for your children until high school, excellent public and private healthcare system, which is completely free, whether you're on a temporary residency status or a permanent residency status, doesn't matter. Comprehensive range of government programs to support business and technological development, close integration with the US economic markets and NAFTA. Certain social benefits of Canada, other than free education for your children and free medicals for the full family, there are certain other benefits, which includes childcare allowances, unemployment allowances, old age pension. Today, we will be focusing on mainly three programs. One is the New Brunswick Provincial Nominee Program, the second option being Nova Scotia Provincial Nominee Program, and the third option being Canada Startup Program. To start off with New Brunswick, obviously it's one of the provinces in Canada. The neighboring provinces of New Brunswick being Quebec, Ontario, and Nova Scotia. The capital being Fredericton. Total area of the province is 72,907 square kilometers. The total population being 747,000. The GDP of the province being 32.18 billion Canadian dollars. Currency being, of course, Canadian dollars. Exchange is the same. Official language, English and French. Visa-free travel to approximately around 160 countries worldwide. Passport ranking being 9th. Now about New Brunswick. Now there are three main urban communities in the province. One is Moncton, second one is Fredericton, and the third one is St. John's. There is a very distinct way of life, very sociable people, very friendly people, approachable neighbors that you would have around yourself. There are great, exciting opportunities, business opportunities when it comes to startups or FDIs. The province in a whole, they want to go ahead and increase the population. And that is all the more reason why they are very welcoming to immigrants. In terms of the infrastructure, the affordable housing, real estate cost is very low as compared to other provinces. Very less traffic, fresh air, high quality life expectancy, local agriculture, and outdoor lifestyle. In terms of the healthcare and education, quite obviously, it's very good as well. There are free public schools and subsidized universities as well. In terms of natural beauty, they're very close to the ocean, rivers, and lakes. It's just a short drive away to the United States of America. New Brunswick, I'm so sorry. New Brunswick being the only province which has 4 real seasons. Now, in terms of the benefits, if you're staying inside New Brunswick, is low cost of businesses in North America, according to KPMG study, one of the top-notch financial analyst institutions in the world. In terms of skilled, educated, and motivated workforce, highest average job tenure of 9.3 years. This speaks volumes in terms of the security of the jobs that people are doing there. World-class communication infrastructure, first to market in providing leading connection technologies, competitive tax structure ranging between 3% to 14% corporate taxes as compared to other provinces, which is slightly higher. In terms of education opportunities, the province, there are about 4 universities inside the province itself, along with 11 colleges. In terms of roadwise infrastructure, it is very well connected: airport, seaport, highways, and railways. Government tailor-made incentives to attract investment. Affordable real estate, when it comes to land and property prices, are very low, which I mentioned earlier as well. It shares its borders with the United States of America, Quebec as the province, Atlantic Ocean, and St. Lawrence River. Now, there are certain, obviously, requisites for any and every program. For New Brunswick, the bare minimum a primary applicant has to be is 22 to 55 years old. He or she needs to have a minimum score of 5 on Canadian language benchmark test. uh, Completed minimum 2 years of post-secondary education, which is just to make it a little easy for you. After your high school, you have to have either a diploma or a degree in order to be eligible to be part of this application. As a primary applicant, the degree, or if your wife doesn't have any degree, doesn't really matter. As a primary applicant, you should have minimum 2 years of post-secondary education after your high school. You need to have a net worth of 600,000 Canadian dollar, of which bare minimum 300,000, which is exactly half of 600, must be in liquid funds. In terms of, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, you need to have minimum 3 years of business ownership experience, or else in the last 5 years, or else if you are a senior management professional, if you are part of the management team, then you need to have minimum 5 years of experience as a senior management professional. You need to have a clean and clear intention to live in New Brunswick, invest bare minimum 250,000 Canadian dollars in a business, and actively manage the business. The total cost of the program is approximately around $35,000. On top of it, there is a provincial fee charge, plus there is a federal application fee, which is a minuscule of an amount as compared to the investment. It approximately ranges between 2,500 to 4,000 Canadian dollar. And like I said, the investment amount is approximately 250,000 Canadian dollars, and there is 100,000 good faith deposit. As the name itself suggests, 100,000 is nothing but it's a good faith deposit which is parked with the government, which is completely refundable to you as soon as you have sufficient proof that you have invested the 250,000 Canadian dollar. The bare minimum time that you get is 2 years. However, for example, if you are moving to New Brunswick, say May 2021, next year, for example, and within one fiscal year, which is one financial year, you have sufficient proof to support that you have invested the 250,000 within one financial year, which is May 2022, then you will be entitled, or you are eligible to get your 100,000 back. Now, just like any other program, any other skill program or business immigration program, in Canada, we have a point-based system. So based on your age, language, education, business ownership, or a senior management experience, in terms of your business plan, how good and effective your business plan is. Again, that is where our expertise come into the picture. Our partner law firms in Canada's role come into the picture. In terms of adaptability, you need to have a minimum score of 65, and the more you score above it, the more benefited you would be in your application. Like I mentioned, the key success factors being 65 points, strong and well-researched business proposal. That is again where WWICS expertise and role, and the lawyers in consideration come into the picture. Customer background, experience, education, knowledge of the business that you are planning to do. There should be no ties at all with any other province. The application step is very plain and simple. It is divided into 9 different stages. We start off with a processing fee of $5,000, and then there is a due diligence, which is obviously done checking the background, of the applicant and the applicant's family, and then you have to go ahead and do a language test, the educational assessment, and the exploratory trip if necessary. I would just like to emphasize a little bit on the third point. Exploratory trip for New Brunswick is mandatory for you. In terms of after this particular stage, you go ahead and do the submission of expression of interest, and then you get the invitation to apply from the province of New Brunswick. The preparation post this particular stage, we do a complete preparation and submission of the full immigration application, including the supporting documents and everything. Then we go ahead and do the application, and we apply with the supporting documents. Post that, after I repeat, after you get the invitation to apply and we prepare your documents and we submit it accordingly, that is when you transfer the 100,000 good faith deposit, not even a single penny before that. And then there is a federal application, a third-party verification based on your net worth and everything. They verify it and they go ahead and give you a direct PR. And that is when you do the landing and business establishment. And that is when, after doing the landing, you invest the 250,000 CAD. Talking about, obviously, me and my colleagues would be addressing all your questions that you would have regarding, New Brunswick or Nova Scotia or the Canada Startup Program at the end of this webinar. Talking about the Nova Scotia program, this was New Brunswick, which we discussed earlier. Now, Nova Scotia Entrepreneur Program it's a province in Eastern Canada with a population of approximately 923,000 as of 2016. It is the most populous of Canada's 3 maritime provinces and 4 Atlantic provinces. It's the country's second most densely populated province and second smallest province by area, both after neighboring Prince Edward Island, and New Brunswick and Quebec. In terms of the area, it's approximately around 55,000 square kilometers, the total population being 971,000. If you remember the area and the population, the area being bigger for New Brunswick, the population was quite smaller as compared to Nova Scotia. Okay, capital being Halifax, regional municipality. In terms of the colleges and universities, again, the province is very well equipped. In terms of places of interest, this is just one of the names, but there are other places of interest, one of them being Cape Breton Highlands National Park of Canada. In terms of the program highlights, the investment type has to be a private enterprise, sole ownership or 33% ownership bare minimum. Minimum 2 jobs have to be created of Canadian citizens or Canadian PR holders. Dependents age limit bare minimum, the maximum that they can have is not above 21. What do you get after the investment? You get a temporary resident visa initially for 2 years. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the presentation, I had mentioned about whether you are on your TRB or you get a permanent residency status, the benefits that you would be churning out, whether it is free schooling, medicals, are the same. You would still be entitled, your family would still be entitled for free schooling and medicals for your children and the family. Now, when are you eligible to apply for permanent residency? So initially, once you apply and you move to Nova Scotia, you will be moving to Nova Scotia on a temporary resident visa status. Now, after you have landed in Nova Scotia, bare minimum, you have to stay for 1 year, after which you are able to apply for permanent residency, which means that you do not, though you have a 2 years residency status that you would be going to Nova Scotia with, you do not have to wait for 2 years. You can literally apply for PR after 1 year of stay in Nova Scotia. And yes, do you have to stay in Canada to maintain the PR? The rules, whether it is skilled or business, remains the same. It's initially when you get the PR, you get it for 5 years. You stay 2 out of 5 years as a primary applicant. Okay, you stay 2 out of 5 years, you are able to renew your PR for another 5 years. You stay 3 out of 5 years, you are able to apply for citizenship, which says, and the 7th point, and the processing time from the day we start your application till the time you get the TRV, the temporary residency visa status for yourself and your family, is approximately not more than 1.5 years. Now, again, in terms of the net worth, the minimum net worth has to be 600,000 CAD. The good part about Nova Scotia is that the 600,000 can be in the form of, like, unlike New Brunswick, wherein 300,000 has to be in liquid fund and the remaining 300,000 has to be in the form of properties or any other thing. But here the 600,000, so somebody doesn't have, say, around 50,000 Canadian dollars lying in the bank as a bank balance, and the remaining 550 is in the form of properties. So that is absolutely fine. So there is no hard and fast rule that it has to be divided into 2 parts. 600,000 net worth, as long as you can show, which would include, again, you and your wife's net worth put together. you're absolutely good to go for the program. The minimum investment is 150,000 Canadian dollar, whether it is a new business which you want to start from scratch, or whether you want to go ahead and start, or you want to buy an existing profitable business. The minimum investment criteria is 150,000 Canadian dollar. You have to be aged 21 and above as a primary applicant. In terms of the experience, again, 3 years business ownership or 5 years as a senior manager role. Language proficiency, again, would be IELTS CLB 5. Education, minimum higher secondary. Again, higher secondary can be just high school. You do not have to be a diploma or a degree holder or a graduation degree holder after your high school. So as long as you're a high school pass out, you are good to apply for the program as a primary applicant. Now, exploratory trip, 5 working days is optional, wherein in New Brunswick, it is absolutely mandatory. In Nova Scotia, it is optional because only when you want to buy an existing business and you want to move to Canada, after you have, with the purchase of the business, that is when you have to go for the exploratory trip. If you're looking to do something from scratch, you do not have to go ahead and, or you want to start something fresh, you do not have to go ahead and have an exploratory trip to Nova Scotia. Only when you are planning to buy an existing business, that is when the exploratory trip is mandatory. Obviously, you should not have any serious criminal history in the past, no serious medical issues within the family, and no money laundering history in the past. Again, it's quite similar in terms of the language, education, business ownership, or senior management experience, net worth, age, adaptability, Nova Scotia economic priorities, and the investment amount. Based on all of this, certain points get allocated, and you get the more number of points you get, you would be, it would ease a lot in your application process. Now, in terms of when you're buying or purchasing an existing business, if you are you have to follow certain rules and regulation. Now, the Nova Scotia-based businesses, you have to keep in mind the businesses that you're planning to buy, or the businesses which we would go ahead and facilitate and give you all the financial reports and everything. The rules set by the Nova Scotia government is that the business needs to be bare minimum 5 years old, profitable business. All applicants purchasing or partnering in an existing business must complete an exploratory visit to meet the current owners. Like I said, if you are in Nova Scotia, the exploratory trip is optional. It becomes mandatory, as the point itself says here, only when you are planning to buy an existing business. Applicants must provide evidence that reasonable efforts were taken to establish a fair market value for the business. In terms of the process outline, we start off with the consultation program selection. Then, of course, we do a due diligence. Post that, we help in document preparation. Post that, we go ahead and do the expression of interest registration. Exploratory trip for 5 working days, as I said, is optional. It becomes mandatory when you're actually buying an existing business. So we plan the complete itinerary for you on your behalf. Once you go there, you meet the lawyers, you meet bankers, you meet business consultancies. So all of this is planned for you by us. After that, you receive the letter of advice, filing with the Nova Scotia Authority, the interview approval, submission of application for temporary resident visa, and of course, last but not the least, the TRV granted for 2 years, which is the temporary residency visa. Now, a quick comparison between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, as a just to make it a little easy for you, just a quick snippet between the two programs. When you're going for a New Brunswick province, the program meant for New Brunswick province, you get a direct permanent residency. So from the day we start your application till the time you move to Canada, New Brunswick province, you'll be moving to Canada with a permanent residency status for yourself and your family. wherein for Nova Scotia, you initially get a work permit, which is also called a temporary resident visa. The processing time from the day we start your application for New Brunswick is approximately 24 months before you get the PR status for yourself and your family and you move to New Brunswick, wherein the processing time for Nova Scotia is between 15 to 18 months. The investment amount is 250,000 Canadian dollar for New Brunswick, wherein for Nova Scotia it is 150,000 Canadian dollar. In terms of the experience, it remains exactly the same for both New Brunswick or Nova Scotia. In terms of the exploratory trip, New Brunswick province is mandatory. Nova Scotia is optional. It becomes mandatory only when you are buying an existing business. In terms of the age limit, maximum is 55 years for New Brunswick. There is no maximum age limit as such for Nova Scotia. In terms of education, you have to have a diploma or a graduation degree post your high school for New Brunswick, wherein for Nova Scotia, it can just be secondary school pass out. And good faith deposit is required, which is 100,000 Canadian dollar in New Brunswick, which they keep as a good faith deposit, completely refundable to you after 2 years or after whichever is quicker, as soon as you have proof that you have invested the 250,000. However, the bare minimum time that they look into is a 1 year period, fiscal year. So 1 year financial year, one financial year, if you've invested the 250, you are entitled to get your 100,000 back. However, there is no such good faith deposit in Nova Scotia province, provincial nominee program. The third program that we will be talking about is the Canada Startup Visa Program. Okay. Now, just to tell you a little bit, the Canada Startup Visa Program was launched in 2013. It is designed for entrepreneurs with skills and potential to build businesses in Canada that are innovative, can create jobs for Canadians, and can compete on a global scale. The program aims to connect these entrepreneurs with organizations in Canada that can assist them in realizing their project. Now, what are the program requirements? The applicant, which is yourself, you have to own a qualifying business, okay, which is innovative enough. Okay, applicants, whether alone or as a group of up to 5 applicants, must own more than 50%, with each applicant owning at least 10% of the shares. You get a letter of support from a designated organization authorized by the Canadian government. This could be either a venture capital fund or angel investor group or business incubator. You need to meet the minimum language requirement of CLB5, which is the same in Nova Scotia or New Brunswick. This program also remains the same. In terms of monetary settlement, you need to have, or you need to bring enough money to settle in Canada with your families, which is typically, I'm looking at, under 50,000 Canadian dollar in most cases. Now, what is a business incubator? A business incubator is an organization that gives very early stage companies access to mentorship, investors, and other support to help them get established. Companies that use business incubators are typically startups and are still defining their operational models and goals. Business incubators give startups access to a variety of services, including some of the following: assistance with core business operations such as accounting, market research, market and legal compliance, management training and advisory services, logistical and technical resources, including shared office space. In terms of the eligibility for the program, there is no minimum net worth as such, okay, unlike the 2 other programs that we have discussed. The investment typically ranges from 100,000 to 200,000 Canadian dollars. There is no age limit as such. In terms of the experience, you need to have minimum 1 year of experience, whether as a business entrepreneur or as a salaried individual. In terms of the language proficiency, just like the same as previous 2 programs, which is CLB5. In terms of education, as long as you are high school educated or pass out and above. you're good to go. High school, minimum high school is requirement. And in terms of there should be no criminal history, there should be no serious medical issues in the family, there should be no money laundering history in the past. Now, the startup visa program is basically divided into 6 different stages. Number 1 is seed stage and assessment of eligibility. Seed stage, as the name itself suggests, it's the start of the program. At this stage, we collect all the information required to assess the candidate's eligibility for the SUV program. Using our customized and confidential client intake sheet, we will need information related to the candidate's background, language skills, personal assets, business and employment history. We also ask for a description of the innovative startup idea. At this stage, the idea may be still in preliminary stage. Our team will review the idea, make suggestions and modifications, and rework the idea with Canadian standards or context in mind. The second stage being preliminary business plan and creation of company. With a team of professionals, we confirm and develop the entrepreneur's business concept. At this stage, we get a clearer view of the innovation, marketing, production, job creation, and financial dimensions of the project. We then send a preliminary version of the business plan for approval. Typically, a federal corporation is created under the Canada Business Corporation Act A. Canadian lawyer will be appointed to the board of directors of the newly created company, not only satisfying Canadian law that 25% of the board be comprised of Canadian residents, but also providing guidance, administration, and management support to the company and providing confidence in the eyes of local partners and the business incubator. The third stage being the completing the business plan submission of the project to business incubator and receive the letter of support. At this stage, the entrepreneur's project idea will be fully developed and a thorough business plan will be prepared. The business plan is presented to the business incubator for approval. Once submitted, the business incubator may require additional information or may suggest modifications and may wish to communicate with entrepreneurs to discuss the project. Our team will ensure that the entrepreneur or if it's a set of 4 or 5 entrepreneurs, they are ready and prepared for all those discussions and questions thrown at them. Upon the acceptance of the project, the business incubator issues a letter of support to each entrepreneur. The fourth stage being prepare and submit the application for permanent residence. Now, our team will prepare the entrepreneur's application for permanent resident. At this stage, application forms need to be completed and supporting documents need to be gathered, including language test results, police clearances, and government fees. Biometric information may be required by IRCC from the entrepreneur or entrepreneurs and accompanying family members. A medical examination is also necessary prior to the issuance of the permanent residence visa or confirmation of permanent residence. At the time of applying, the applicant must submit official test results from a designated language agency, which is for the IELTS, and demonstrating a minimum of CLB5 score in listening, writing, reading, and speaking. These results must be not more than, or rather not less than 2 years old at the time of submission. The fifth stage being launch of the startup and incubation. The entrepreneur must demonstrate that efforts to develop the business plan have been made and concrete actions to set up the business are taken. This is the time when the initial steps of the operating plan will be executed. The company's bank account will be opened, marketing and branding initiatives will start, and its website will be developed. In some cases, the business will hire employees, develop partnerships, gain strategic resources, and make strides towards business development. This is done in parallel with stage 4. At this stage, an investment in the startup is necessary. The amount of investment required at this stage will vary depending on the entrepreneur's project. You should expect that an entrepreneur will be required to invest bare minimum 100,000 CAD to ensure the company has sufficient liquidity during its startup phase. In terms of temporary work permit, although not required, Entrepreneurs are eligible to apply for a work permit while waiting for their permanent residence application to be processed. This allows the entrepreneurs to begin the business incubators program, which usually consists of meetings to better guide the launch of the startup on a period of 6 months. We assist, guide, and represent the entrepreneurs in the application for a work visa. If getting a work visa to start the incubation program is not feasible before the permanent residency status is granted, the entrepreneur can join the incubation program after receiving the permanent residency status itself. The last stage, of course, being the permanent residency status. Upon positive assessment of the entrepreneur's application, permanent residency status will be granted to the entrepreneur and his accompanying family members by the Ministry of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. As the entrepreneur will now be a permanent resident, the appointed director will resign from the board of directors of the startup. The entrepreneur will continue to manage his business in Canada and be the principal driver behind its growth and success, including ensuring the business is sufficiently capitalized to ensure its success. Additional investment from the entrepreneur may be required. Typically, the process outline, it takes about, a good around 1.5 years time. On the first month, we start the process, we do the consultation, signing of the documents, signing of the documents from our company. In the first month itself, the assessment from the Canadian law and the technical assessment is done. On the next is the initial business plan and the company formation. Completion of the business plan is followed by that. Letter of support and approval is received post the completion of the business plan. The second last stage being PR application and business startup launch. And last but not the least is permanent residency status for yourself and your family. Typically, if I'm looking at the total expense over a period of 1.5 years or maybe around 20 months would be approximately around 140,000 USD, which is of course based on the status of your application. We complete a stage, we go on to the next stage, that is when you pay us the next amount. So it is designed that way. And this is typically the payment schedule. When we start your process, it is typically around $5,500. Then on due diligence and technical assessment before the issuance of checklist of documents, you would pay us another $10,000. Post the company formation business plan, you would be paying $15,000. Letter of support and approval, after once you get it, you would be paying us $70,000. PR application, $12,000, and last but not the least is receipt of the permanent residency status. You pay the remaining $33,000. Now, please bear in mind that majority of these payments are payouts to third parties who are, helping us throughout the process. So yes, that is how the payment schedule is designed. And I would now like to unmute all our participants. However, I would be answering any question which is related to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia province. Any and every question that you may have regarding Canada Startup Program, I have my colleague, Mr. Nawaz, who would be answering your questions.
Thank you, Kushan. Thank you so much
I
for
will
the wonderful presentation.
Pleasure.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nawaz. I'm working as a business investment manager with WWICS group of companies. We are open for the question answer session now. So you guys can either type or even you can unmute yourself and ask your questions. Thank you. Any questions? We are open for all the questions answer session round now.
Any questions any of you would have for regarding any of the programs?
Questions? You can also get in touch with
Sorry,
concern. Yes, please. This one.
any questions anybody has? What you can do is, I mean, all of you, whichever business manager has contacted you, has invited you to attend the webinar, I mean, he or she can get in touch with you, and vice versa, and would be able to address your questions that you may have. So I would request all my colleagues to get in touch with their respective clients and get their queries answered.
You have one question. Kindly unmute yourself and please ask your question.
Anybody, any questions, please? Not a problem. I would like to thank each one of you for taking your time out and attend the webinar. Like I said before, my colleagues who have contacted their respective clients in order to attend the webinar, they will be getting in touch with you shortly and would be answering your questions or any particular queries that you may have. Thank you once again for taking your time out. All of you have a lovely evening. Be safe and enjoy your evening. Take care.
Thank you, Kushan. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much.